Hey guys, how's it hanging in there? Um, I guess tonight is I I would say um today today's has been a sort of an average day really, but I'm just kind of pissed off with my way in this week because it is the same, and I've tried not eating in between meals, and I only had my ice cream on Sunday. After my roast dinner. You know, Sundays is where I have to have a little bit of a treat now and then, but I have tried this week. I have tried. But hey, yeah, if you're not satisfied with that, then hey ho. Um, Also, I know a lot of people are pissed off with the aliens thing. I tried to do a deep web video that just didn't go right at all. I was going to do this deep web thing in the middle of town, trying to sort of like get a reaction type of thing, do like a War of the Worlds kind of Orson Welles type thing. It just didn't work. Just didn't. Um, well, yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm so pissed off with that bus driver. Right, I was going to Magul Radio and I'm ringing Arriva tomorrow because that bus driver, he was just an utter twat. Um, like he just wasn't good with me at all. I get a bit agitated on the bus, and the people go up and and I haven't got data at the moment, so I can't use my maps at the moment, so I can't because I've used all my data. So, um, but the driver said I'm not a taxi, so I just thought, right, you fucking swine, you're getting it tomorrow because I'm ringing Arriva. I've had it here with buses. I really have. Fine. I don't pay for the buses, and I'm gonna say it right up and I'm a bus pass user. But still, why do we get treated like shit on public transport, right? Why? You know, is it because you can? I mean, I don't wish bad on people at all, but I'll tell you something, you know, I get very agitated on transport as well. That's part of my Asperger's, really. With buses mainly, because they won't get we haven't got the speaking announcements up here, and there is no mobile phone app in the world I can get that will help me. I've tried every single app in the world known to man, and they are crap with voiceover. So yeah, um, so there's some bus stops I actually do know, but some bus stops I don't, and I just think usually I'd let them off with it lightly, but I've had up to here with them. I use fine, you know, he was just in a grumpy mood, and so I'm not letting it slide. You know, he should be professional, and he wasn't. So he's gonna get it in for him, and you know, and you don't expect it. You know, I mean, I do that journey every week. You know, and you know, I am actually travelling to a place of work, so I want to jump on my high horse with this one. I was going to mention it on the radio, but I thought, nah, best don't. But, you know, I thought, I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide on air today, but I thought, tomorrow I will be ringing them. You know? I thought, there is a fine line of professionality. I thought I didn't really want to be, you know, I didn't really want to be kind of, you know, told off on air. For basically, I mean, I do actually mention that on the air now that I do travelling by bus. I didn't used to on air because I was told that you know, don't mention that you've travelled by bus on air. But you know, I thought, well, sod it. You know, now I don't really care because I do mention it on, you know, that I am. Who the hell have we got?
Quick nav off. Quick nav on. Creative tools. Live. 0. Camera chooser. Joanne Louise Mickens joined. Profile picture. Want to know who's watching your live video? James McShane joined.
Yeah, hello.
Profile picture. Add friend. Comment. Finish. Finish. Comment. Button.
But yeah, I'm gonna, you know, I remember the old management just basically said to me, Stephen, you can't talk about that on air, or the audience won't want to know. But now, I do. So it didn't offend me, but it just angers me, because if it offended me, I'd be onto Arriva today. But unfortunately, it hasn't. So, but I just think I have a learning disability. I am anxious, and you know, it just extra pissed me off. Plus, that bus was delayed and late, and you know, they didn't apologise for being late, and there was loads of people waiting for that bus. I'm not going to add that to it, by the way, but yeah, he might as well have just driven past me, but they were changing drivers, so it probably was a driver who would have driven past me. I mean, it is my fault because I do get agitated on buses, and I ask literally, you know, there should be some communication, you know, I mean, seriously, bus drivers aren't trained properly, and this is why they are fucking. There are some good drivers. Drivers that go the extra mile for you, I tell you this, they aren't praised enough. If you're a bus driver watching this, and you've had me on your bus, this isn't a dig at you, I'm telling you now. You know, I've had some fantastic bus drivers that have gone the extra mile. They've gone the extra mile. I'm not in bed yet, so I'll put a bit of light on. You know, they've gone the extra mile.
Camera chooser. Front facing. Button.
You know, they've gone the extra mile to, you know, like, the driver coming back, he was fantastic. The driver coming back, you know, knows me on the bus. So, knew, because But some of them get a little bit pissed off, and I think, it's time they got a little bit of training, a little bit of, it's time they got, because I will say to the bus company, look, this is a complaint and I want you to be aware. I want you to be aware of it, because I'm not pissed off because I have a visual impairment. I'm pissed off because, I have a learning difficulty. And I was in a bit of an agitated mood, and I was a little bit kind of anxious as well, because I do get that on buses. And I'm sorry if it pisses the driver off, but people on the bus aren't brilliant. So people on the bus, passengers do help me out, which is great, and I thank the lady behind me, otherwise I don't think I would have ever got off at that stop. So how I got to the Meadows today was, I just don't know how I got there. But I was glad to get off that bus. So I'm not happy with him, and I want to kind of let the company know, people with learning difficulties on buses, they get everybody with bus passes. It's like, why do we get treated like shit? There should be some form. I mean, you get some good bus drivers and they communicate well. They're fantastic, and I want to praise them drivers right here because I am in a ranting type of mood. I'm tired. But that's the point. The good bus drivers, they go the extra mile, and they're the ones that don't need to have a dig about, because they even go the extra length, the extra mile. And so they're always thanked and praised, But I just think they should know, because I've had it up to here. I had it up to here today, I just thought, oh, for goodness sake. I felt like saying to the driver, right, you give me 10 quid and I'll get off at this stop now and I will get a taxi. I felt like saying that to him, But I didn't, because luckily there was people helping me out. I thought to myself, come on, this is a crowded bus. Why is no one helping me, And then luckily someone had to help me out. I thought, this is a crowded bus, come on. I nearly lost my rag, but I didn't want to get thrown off the bus a few stops early. That has happened to me. Well, I wasn't thrown off the bus, but I was put off the bus at the wrong stop. This is when I started at McGill Radio, and they'd only started doing that bus route, and as you get towards where the bridge is, and this driver, I just said, is this the Meadows? And he said, yeah. So me being me, I thought, okay, so I got off, and it wasn't. I thought, this is odd. There's a seat at this bus stop. So luckily, I said, how do you get to the Meadows from here? And they Anyway, to cut a long story short, the 310 came and they took me to the next stop. So, but I just think, come on, you know. Normally I wouldn't complain to a bus stop, but, you know, I think the driver's going to know that if it wasn't a crowded bus, things would have probably been a little different. But yeah, and seriously, I don't care for other passengers because they don't. Some of them don't. The ones that do help, they're fantastic. But the ones that don't, they're just freaking knobs. You know, I mean, gosh, if I was fully sighted and, you know, and I took buses, whatever, and couldn't drive a car, I'd help. I mean, you know, that's the way I am. I'd say, look, you know, there are people that do help me, and
Time for bed. Go to bed by 12 a.m. to get a full 7 hours of sleep. Clock. You have 10 new clock notifications. Clock.
yeah,
18 new clock
we know about
notifications.
clock.
You have 18 new recording. Live. Facebook. Clock. You have 14 new clock notifications. Facebook. Recording. Recording. Facebook. Recording. Quick nav off. Quick nav on. Creative tools. Live. Camera chooser. Joanne Louise Mickens joined. Profile. Want to know who's what? James Mitch. Profile pic. Add friend. Comment. Finish. 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 Comment. Add friend. Profile picture. James McShane joined.
But anyway, less about. Hang on a sec.
Notification. Clock. Now. Clock. Double tap to. Facebook. Recording.
Thankfully, it hasn't stopped recording, so we got a good connection tonight, which is good. We didn't have last night, and I was talking about setting up a non-conforming organisation where people don't have to conform for whatever reason. You know, they're not forced to. And I'd love to have a big, massive parade of people dressed up as whatever they want to dress up and act the way they want to do. You know, the underground parade of underground people. You never know, I might get a girlfriend. A nonconformist girlfriend. Hey, blooming, how would that go? Probably like all the other relationships, I suppose. But I'm just in a moaning, ranting mood tonight. Well, more of a moaning mood. Oh man, I've moaned a nonconformist blog, which is important because it speaks to people who have Asperger's or autism or just anything. They feel like they've got to fit in with everybody. They've grown up, they've left school, and they feel like, hold on a minute, they've got to fit in with the rest. I mean, I didn't feel like that, actually. Well, I did. I mean, I had to conform through childhood, so when I got to adulthood, I felt like I had to conform. But when I left Henshaw's and started Hugh Baird and learnt a lot and stuff like that, I didn't need to conform, because when I started doing Facebook and stuff, and I already made mistakes online which couldn't be fixed because everyone, you know, I actually shared a picture, and that's a fact. I wasn't sharing the picture; I was sharing the post, and that's a long time ago now. But it was a rude picture. But what I'm trying to say is, I didn't understand. And then this live video thing came about, and there was a huge turf war. I got into a few turf wars. And I felt that was because people felt, you know, like, and I'm going to talk to you guys now. You know, a lot of that's gone over my head, and still does, because I've felt like all my life I've had to conform. There's going to be an Imaginary Friends blog to support the Imaginary Friends vlog, which is gone on YouTube. So yeah, it's gone on YouTube because people are interested about it. And obviously it's going to help. I've actually helped a couple of YouTubers out in the comment section, which is the worst place on YouTube to even be, because I've been jumped on by loads of people. I've ignored them. But I've had YouTubers block me in the comment section because of my spelling, communication. I told a creepypasta channel to basically do one. Why they've kept me still subscribed to them, goodness knows. And, you know, I was very nice to them as well when I told them I didn't swear or anything. I just said, look, if you can't understand my spelling, then you haven't got learning disabilities. And they blocked me. I explained myself full-blown detail to them and everything. But, yeah, but for YouTubers who have got Asperger's syndrome and they've been crying out for help in whatever way, I've helped them out in the comment section because they've asked for it, and and they thanked me for it, and they've said that they've already got whatever they needed, but there was another YouTuber that didn't know and whatever. And so yeah, I've felt that, you know, adulthood really is a hard thing, because but for me, it's like things were different because things were quite late. I got diagnosed with Asperger's late. And when I was in school, like, I went to a blind school. I'm going to put it like that. Or a special school. I'll put it like that in case there's any political correct wankers listening. But yeah, I went to a special school, and you'd think going to a special school there'd be people that understand, and yeah, the reality of it is there wasn't. There were people in their cliques, when I call it that. There was people that, I don't know, and so school really just, yeah. And when I left school and entered college, I guess I fitted in, but that was because, you know, act how they want to act, and now they understand because I've had to explain a lot. And like, so, but my family, like, when I was a kid and I got the diagnosis or whatever, my dad's side of the family would never believe that I had Asperger's syndrome, because they thought, oh, well, you're talking to yourself is strange and it's mad. And I'm going to tell you now, the only reason they didn't like it was because they felt uncomfortable. And I'm telling you now, I've been around people, and some of the things that people do, yeah, make me feel uncomfortable, but I would never say, you must stop doing that because it makes you feel strange or whatever. I'd never tell them. Because it's like going up to somebody and say, you smell. It really is. Okay, it's small, so you might have to be very, very careful on that score, but it's just the same thing. I see it as that, see it as that, then go away. In my point of view, if they're in a coffee bar or whatever, then they can move somewhere else. Um, um, and I'm not mean to be rude by any chance, but high enough of people saying this is how you should be, you know? Table readiness. And it's, that table readiness stuff still happens. They try and stop it, I'm told, but I think people tried to get me table ready, and it's made me, in one sense, it's made me come a lot stronger than weaker, because it's just made me say, well, stuff you, kind of thing, blow you. If you want to still live in the 90s, that's fine. But, it just, a lot of people now are okay with it. You know? But I want to do a non-conformed society thing to see, how people would, I think it would help a lot of people. It would bring people together. It would let people behave how they want to behave, as long as it's not harming anybody. As long as you're not sexually molesting somebody or doing something to offend anybody, I mean, if you were getting your willy out in public, it's not. Which I know there are a lot of societies that are about that, but but yeah, which I said that to my psychiatrist. I said, when I was on one of the assessments, I said, look, I said, because I always saw an everyday situation, like, I said, look, I said, I couldn't imagine sitting around the dinner table with my family and, getting your willy out, your family would be horrified, or whoever you sat around the dinner table with would be horrified. I understand there are cultures in the world that probably allow that. I don't know. But yeah, being non-conform means like like dressing up as a clown, or and just being imaginative and creative. Being what you want to be and not what society tells you to be. I mean, I have dressed up. I used to go for errands for Oscar dressed in a pig's mask, and it didn't frighten Cranberries, but it frightened the people in the toy shop. I used to do it all the time, you know, because Oscar wanted a reaction, so I always went in the toy shop. The Entertainer toy shop, I used to go in there dressed in a pig's mask. But I think, you know, to parade around the town, being what you want to be, being how you want to be, and not what people tell you what you should be. I think non-conformism should be celebrated. You know, if I want to have imaginary friends and talk to myself or whatever, that's me. It's part of my personality. I actually learn from it. I learn from situations. I know they're building simulators now to do it, but they're not as good. You're never going to learn the situations, or you're never going to, like, I learned through play, really. I wish I'd known that's how I learnt years ago. I would have probably been so much better. I'd have probably got through exams and stuff like that. But I know my English teacher in Hubert, she was fantastic, because we would doing letter writing, and we had to write a letter to an imaginary friend. Oh no, we had to write a letter to each other, right? But then I think we did have to do a letter to an imaginary friend, somebody, you know, something imaginary, and my letter was the best one, I think. Just because it had so much thought behind it, you know. And we had to read them out in front of the class, and I actually got a few people reading in the class. Don't know how that happened, because I wasn't into English at all. But I was trying to get into uni and never got anywhere. But yeah, I'm gonna start a thing up, a society of non-conformism. It should be practiced not as a faith or a religion, but as a way of living. There's a difference between a religion and a faith and a way of living. A way of living is not breaking law or doing harm or whatever. It's being what you want to be without society telling you what you need to be. We all know that normal is a word that makes people in society comfortable. It makes them it makes them comfortable. It makes people, and ordinary and things like that. It makes people comfortable with what they want to be. It makes them comfortable. They don't want to step outside of a comfort zone and sit with a strange person and talk with them. And I have been in those situations. There was a guy who I won't name on Facebook because I know there's a lot of people who hate him. But there's a guy who I thought he had a very scary voice and had a very scary atmosphere about him. But when you actually got to sit and talk with him, he was quite a nice guy underneath. He just had a lot of baggage with him and stuff. And, you know, I talked to him in town and stuff. You know? I understand some people live some rough lives, but you know, when you force people to conform, it makes... I mean, I tell you now, it could have damaged me in early life if I didn't learn about Asperger's syndrome. I learnt about what I need to learn about and thought, I don't need to know anymore. I've been in a few assessments, and the last assessment I was in, I learnt a hell of a lot about me personally. And I have learnt. I've learnt even more about me, to be frankly honest, than ever. Because, you know, I'm a visually impaired person with autism. There isn't many of them around. And even if there are, they don't like to say it. They don't like to say they've got, you know, because it's either it'll add on to the financial barrier or they don't want that extra support. You know, that's okay. But to be non-conformed as well is better than being underground. Well, it is underground. I mean, the government needs to... That's one thing they need to have in the House of Commons is there needs to be a government that's not so conformed. The Conservatives are conformed, Liberals are conformed, the Labour are definitely conformed. In fact, they're so conformed that, oh man, I think they invented the word normal. Because, gosh, I mean, yeah, you only need to look at the 90s. I mean, they destroyed rock and roll by, I don't know, calling Oasis rock and roll. Well, let's not go into that. But yeah, they destroyed rock and roll. They destroyed everything. But yeah, no longer do we have to conform. No longer. I still think, though, it should be battled against, and there should be people discussing it properly. I mean, I always say, like, I believe in these creationists when they, not on the religious side of things, but when, like, a creationist in, like, people who can create characters and make their own lives and see reality from different angles. Like, you know, I just think we don't know what reality is. That's a big thing. That's like a university entrance thing.
Quick nav off. Quick nav on. Creative tools. Live. Camera chooser. Joanne Luke. Profile picture. Want to know who's James McChange job. Profile. Katie Fishlock join. Profile picture. Add friend. Comment. Button. Finish. Button. Finish. Comment. Add friend. Profile picture. Katie Fishlock join.
Hello, Katie Fishlock. So yeah, and you know, being non-conformed means that we have to learn about one another. It may mean playing pretend a lot, but you know, as long as we don't harm anybody or hurt anyone. I think it should be okay. Speaking of my imaginary friends, actually, Rosemary and Andy. This week, Andy's been round here a lot because we've been extending both companies, and we've now got more office space. We got office space we don't even need now, and desk space we don't even need. So, Adam's leaving our company because imaginary Adam is leaving our company because he's freelancing with MindMob, but he's leaving Magic Silver Room. So, it'd be sad to lose him because, but he's gonna work. He's gonna go to do some gaming. He's gonna work from here. He's gonna have a gaming studio from here, but he won't be doing any projects with Silver Room anymore. MindMob he's already got projects for, but he's freelancing with them. He's only doing part-time. But I've been doing a lot of MindMob tasks this week because I'm trying to get Tom up and going with stuff, because he doesn't even know about his vision properly or anything. So it's kind of, you know, when you start seeing bank accounts unfold and things, there's no way this Friday when I go in the office I'm not going to talk about business plans and visions, because when I come back off holiday, well, actually, no, next Saturday I'll be sitting down with him talking about visions and business plans, and I don't want to have to call another meeting before the end of the month. But you know, but yeah, so that's Charles's. He's had to go early tonight. He's working on his house and his garage, and he's doing a lot of work. So he's got everything cut out fine. Charles's wife's coming back to the company, Daphne. She's going to work for MindMob. And she's also going to help Charles's company, but she's working for MindMob as our secretary, so yeah, we're having another woman in the office. That should help things. But I'm opening up another web studio from the cellar. So that should be, because we think we should have a vlogging space And I've already got a music studio in the cellar, so I've got music equipment, so should be good for all the web stuff we want to do. And I believe we got a sound designer joining MindMob, a sound design team, but at the moment it's going to be one sound designer. So that's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, we got Nick, Darren, Lewis, and Amy. So there'll be 3 girls in the company. But, yeah. And my pretend radio station, Temper Radio, is on the up. We're doing a lot of commercials at the moment. And I'm also going to start my DJ company soon, after Christmas. I'm writing a mixtape, which I'm hoping to do a proper full-blown 2-3 hour mixtape and send it off, along with various other bits and bobs. Because I've learnt now when I started out, I did a demo tape. People won't remember it, except my dad, who helped me burn it on CD. And we put my phone number on. I never sent them off. It was pretty, looking back, it was a pretty crap demo tape. I came home on the Friday night thinking, yes, I'm going to do this. I did it, and it was pretty crap. It was one side of a cassette tape, which I converted, and I still like it, actually, because I listened back to the old days when I couldn't really DJ properly. I listened to all my mistakes, thinking, oh yeah. And actually now I listen to what I do now and compare it and thinking, oh yeah, I can do a little bit, but it's beat matching, and I think we all struggle with it a little bit, and it's getting back to the grips of it. Actually, I'm just learning how to do it still. But I'm going to say it now, folks. I'm wanting to downsize even more. But I'm keeping my R1 because, yeah, Pioneer R1 saves lives. But I want to get a DJ controller by next year. And I want to be doing more gigs by next year. I want to just throw it all into the back of a car and just set it up and go. And the paid gigs will go towards the transport. And whatever else. So yeah, I'm hoping to do all of that. Hoping to do quite a few paid gigs. I will even do a few promotions, but they'll just be promotions and nothing else. So I'm hoping to run a few of my own nights. I did want to do an illegal rave, but I looked into that, and it's not just there's a lot of hard stuff you've got to. It's not just going into a warehouse and promoters and all that business. There's a bit more to it. You've got to advertise it. You've got to make sure you've got a backup plan. You've got to make sure you've got enough vehicles. You've got to make sure people come to it. You've got to make sure it's going to be good. You've got to make sure your set's going to be good. You've got to make sure you've got good music. Which I have anyway, but not to the standards of an illegal rave. And the nearest I've got to doing like a rave of some sorts is the middle of Birkdale High School field on a performance trailer. That was crazy. I've done some crazy gigs in my time, but yeah. Um, I'm also hoping to do a promotional event at the Temperance, so you never know. That might be a rave. You won't be allowed to bring alcohol, but it will be a rave of some form, a safe rave. Gosh, do they exist? Felt Cheryl's party was a bit of a ended up being a rave because I just knew there was a crowd there, and you've got a crowd there, and you've got to play some music, and but I don't really like doing functions because it's too much hassle. I haven't got, money to keep updating the CD collection. I mean, even when I've got Spotify Premium sorted and iDJ Pro sorted and a DJ controller sorted and a laptop sorted, still those functions take a lot. Functions do, because it's like they're always set, like it's always very, how can you put it? It's kind of, there's too much structure to it. It's kind of a stop-start. And I do not do karaoke. I've DJ'd with people who have karaoke machines, and I'm just like, man, it's stop, start, sing, and you're actually DJing less than what you think. You haven't got. It's strange because like you have your advantages, but you also have your disadvantages. I mean, the longest set I've done this year has been at the Temperance from 9 till 4 in the afternoon. I didn't do the whole entire day, I've got to admit. But again, I felt that was quite a long set, to be frankly honest. But hey, I did it,
Profile picture. Katie Fishlock. Profile pic. Add friend. Comment. Finish. Finish. But comment. Add profile pic. Katie Fishlock. Quick add off. Quick add on. Profile. James Mitch. Want to know who's watching your live video? Swipe left to see your viewers. Profile picture. Joanne Louise Mickens joined. Profile. Katie Fish. Profile pic. Add friend. Comment. But finish. Button. Comment. Button.
So yeah.
Requests. One new.
And and I want to say something. When I started out, before I even did my gigs, I was always wanting to know my equipment, and when I got my new Marks, I was dead excited to have the leads plugged in and all of that. But I was more excited than anybody else who, because when I got to know my gear and what it did, and when I took it out on the road and stuff, I learnt a lot of things on the road. Number one thing I learnt was to set gear up. But when I actually learnt about things, and I did a few mixes and went through my karaoke machine and put a few mixes onto cassette, and in actual fact, it's strange because Even though they'll sound bad to someone else, I still enjoy them. Strangely enough. I don't enjoy listening to my old sets. I really don't enjoy listening to them because I put too much action into where there shouldn't have been. I mean, I used to drink at my sets. If you looked at my old mix, I spilt lager into one of my old mixes by accident. But these decks I've had, no drink has gone near them because I don't drink on stage anymore. Well, I do, but it's Coke mainly. It's not beer or whatever. Those days of being drunk on stage are kind of over. But also when I wasn't drunk on stage, if I was trying to do something like copy style or try and, and people didn't like it. But the reason I used to record my sets is because I could use them for something. And my favourite sets I've ever done that are my old ones are like done from the Guildhall, or you're all going to ask, was the Chapel Street one? Do I still like listen to that back? Yeah, but it got a bit painful towards the end. Looking back, it was quite a painful set. It was cold and it was in the middle of October. I don't think I would do it now because the energy's not there for me to do it now, but back then I did a lot of sets. There was one time where I did a set every single... There was one set I did a set 5 days a week. I did 2 sets in Millscop. Hang on, no. Yeah, I did 2 sets in Millscop. I did a set in the Guildhall, and then the following week I did a set in the Phoenix, the Falstaff. And I did 2 weeks in the Falstaff. So it was, yeah, my mum and dad weren't happy with me doing that. But, that was a lot of unpaid work as well. I mean, nowadays I'm not on the road that much. And when I am, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy getting there. I don't enjoy setting up, but once I'm set up and I'm ready to roll, I enjoy playing that set through the whole thing. Because I don't know if I'm going to do another one, so a lot of my DJ sets are like gold dust, You don't know if you're going to get another one or... It just happens.
Finish. But comment. But add friend. Profile picture. Katie Fishlock joined. Profile picture. Katie Fishlock joined.
I mean... in the early days of DJ sets, it was a case of me going, you know, when can I do a disco with you guys? That was the case of me. I remember people saying there isn't going to be a Christmas disco this year, and so I enjoyed working. I mean, this year I plan to do a gig on Christmas Day online, and I'm gonna do something which will probably get me into a wee bit of trouble, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I want a gig. And that's do a set on YouTube through my laptop. We probably might be breaking quite a few rules in the book, but as long as I don't get fined or anything and get into trouble with mummy over it, I'll be fine. I should be alright. So I plan to do something on YouTube over Christmas. And yeah, plan to do it a long thing and put it out. Who knows, if it goes well, I'll do another one over New Year or whatever.
Comment. But finish. But finish. Comment. Katie Fish. James Mick. Want to know who's profile pitch. Joanne Louise Mickens joined. Camera chooser. Front facing. Button. Profile. Add friend. Button. Comment. Button. Record. Katie Fish lock job. James McShane joined. Rose want to know who's watching your live. James McShane joined. Want to know who's watching your. Joanne Louise Mickens joined. Want to know who's watching your live video. Selected. Want to know who's watching your live video. Selected. Want to know who's watching your live video. Swipe left to see your viewers. Selected. James McShane joined. Selected. Want to know who's recording. Finish. Button.